Is there hope for homeowners insurance? Hi, I'm Kitty with American Hero Properties and Showtime Realty answering that question. We're going to be talking all about homeowners insurance, what it means for us, what's to come, and what's up with these price points. Let's start with something called reinsurance. So as we're all seeing, we've either personally have been affected by this or know someone who has. The prices have been going up like crazy. We're all wondering what's going on, what's causing that. So let's take a step back, talk about what's been happening, then we'll talk about what's coming. So back to that first word I mentioned, reinsurance. What is that? So an insurance company is ensuring that, is there a catastrophe, you're covered and your property will be taken care of. That's why you pay insurance. Well, there's also a requirement for those companies to have reinsurance. And ironically, reinsurance is something that companies are running outside of our country. So while we can control the insurance market here, the reinsurance policies the insurance companies are having to take care of are out of the country. And the interesting part is they're pretty pricey. So out of every dollar that you're paying for homeowners insurance, 45 cents of that is going just to this reinsurance policy. So as you can see, it's almost half your payments for your policy is specifically for this reinsurance. Now that's super important to know because of a couple different things. In 2022, reinsurance rates doubled. They went up 50%. And that's why those costs have been passed along to us. Again, those insurance companies are having to pay for reinsurance. So if their costs are going up 50%, that's almost half your premium. You can imagine it's about a 25% increase that you're gonna see. And that's just throwing numbers out there. Again, we're seeing much higher than that. Now in 2023, these numbers are 27% higher increase. So this reinsurance part, this part that I don't think people are talking about, I know it's new to me, is something that's really impacting the price points that we're seeing. And we're not having that control and regulations on it because it's out of the country as well. So it's a very interesting factor that's definitely affecting our marketplace for that. Now, why is this reinsurance going up so much? Well, since 2017, these past 5 hurricanes have caused about $48 billion. So you can see there's a lot of costs with that, an increase in that reinsurance. It's all kind of rippling from that. So it's been a bad storm brewing and a very expensive storm as we're all seeing in these costs. Now there's some major contributing factors in this too. There's 2 big ones really. It's fraud and inflation. Fraud accounts for about 10% of claims. And I don't know about you, but I've heard fraud talked about, insurance fraud, things like that. But really understanding kind of what that means and how crazy it can be is a whole nother story. So 10% of claims are considered fraud, and there's a lot of things that are being done, so listen tight. But here's the interesting part. So what we were seeing, not now, but in the past, was there were some, let's call them bad actors out there. And when there was a catastrophe in the area, say a storm or some sort, or after the hurricanes, they would come in and say, they would look at roofs, they would say, oh, you have damage on your property, we can file a claim for you, get it taken care of, no cost. Well, someone after a storm, is gonna wanna have help. That's, they're looking for relief from that. Well, back then there was also this document that you'd sign and you would let that contractor, that bad actor, so to speak, that roofer in this example, reach out to your insurance company on your behalf and file that claim for you and take care of it, made it easy for you. Now, you're thinking, why would I let them do that for me? Well, it's kind of common in different ways. If you think about insurance, when you go to the doctor, when you first go to the doctor, you fill out forms and paperwork and you say, send my records to my insurance company, file on my behalf. They take care of that. If there's a balance left, you take care of it whatsoever later, however, typically, that kind of avenue for it. So it's not uncommon for that party to help make that process smooth. But what's happening on the fraud side is we're seeing these bad actors taking advantage of that. So it would be heightening up the cost of those repairs or saying there was more than actually needed to be done. And the homeowner wasn't even aware because they were directly communicating with the insurance company, committing fraud because these are false allocations or heightened allocations that aren't true, thus increasing the claims, thus increasing the cost. And then I say fraud being that $308 million, that's what I'm talking about right here. To kind of explain more about that litigation of that. So if you're looking at this, with that, out of that 51 billion, this is where it's really crazy, 79% of that is just attorney and adjuster fees. So it's a lot of fees that are being put in there and just to settle, just to get out of litigation, just to, make it stop. That's a lot of wasted money with that fraud. It's a big part of it. The other part, as we're all seeing with marketing, shopping, is inflation. We compare prices from now to a few years ago, we can see the market's going up. Supplies are going up, cost of labor is going up, all of that is going up as well. So the price of homes are going up, you'll see that too. So the property value on your policy is gonna be, can be increased. Your property might have more value, so you're gonna see a higher payment on that as well. So there's really some factors those two big things, fraud and inflation, that are paying key factors. Let's talk about some of the good things that are coming, and there's some amazing things that are happening. One big thing that's happened is the AOB prohibition that applies to claim holders and that are issued policies for homeowners from January 1st of 2023 on. So that AOB prohibition is what I was referring to when a contractor or say a bad actor was, contacting an insurance company directly. That's what that AOB form would do. That's how they'd be able to communicate. Well, it has since been prohibited. And like I said, that was effective January 1st last year, 2023, because of all of this fraud. Because the homeowner can take care of filing the claims. They can take care of it. They don't have to worry about these bad actors that are playing in there. And that's had a great impact on what we're seeing as well. We're seeing litigation down 20%. So that's huge in the fact of how much it's costing. If you're looking at $51 billion in litigation, that's saving you $10 billion. So that's definitely a huge impact on that. It's letting homeowners know what's happening on their property. There's not liens being filed. There's not things being done without their knowledge. So that's super, super important. This is going to take some time to see these positive impacts, but they're coming for homeowners insurance, which is exciting. There's 10 companies that recently filed that they're not going to have any increases in their policy cost, which is amazing because we've been seeing these increases. So to see 10 companies filing no increase is amazing. Now 12 companies have filed a decreased rates. Yes, the decreased rates, right? It's about time to hear that. And then there's 8 new companies that are coming to the market here in Florida, with 2 national companies, State Farm and AAA, that are going to be returning and have recommitted to Florida for being here for homeowners insurance. So there is a lot of great things that are happening in the future that are getting us back to a place where those costs are coming down. The storm is phasing out because there's all those hits from it. We're changing litigation with that as well, as you're hearing. One of the reforms that was done was if you do have a claim, and we were seeing this in the past, no longer because of reform. But one thing, if you had a claim, you were getting dropped, if your home was getting repaired, your policy might have lapsed or ended and they dropped you, and then you wouldn't have coverage. You can't get new coverage at that point because your house is getting repaired. So that's been an issue. So one of the big things done in reform now is that 90 days post repairs being done, then you can have that being that end the termination of your contract or your homeowner's policy. You cannot be terminated from your homeowner's policy in the middle of those fixes, which is great because you need time to find new insurance. That's super important. And then some of those companies that have gone out of business as well, if you were with a past, insurance company that went out of business, and then you don't have insurance, or you're going through those claims that are getting fixed and you don't have insurance, you will have to, Citizens is committed to taking you on as a client too. So there is options to make sure there's homeowners. So lots of things are coming to play. If you have questions about insurance, there is help out there. I bet you didn't know that there's actually an office dedicated to helping homeowners with insurance. Any kind of insurance. Right now we're talking about homeowners insurance though. If you have a question about your policy, if something's changed, something doesn't make sense, there is a department, it's the Florida's Insurance Consumer Advocate, that will help answer your questions, understand your policy, and if something's wrong, they'll help you advocate for that as well. There is somewhere out there to help you figure this out if you do have any questions. I hope this was helpful. Feel free to give me a call anytime. I'd love to help answer any questions you have, talk more about this, be a resource to you. My number is 941-400-0113. Call or text me today. Have a great day, and I look forward to serving you.